All right, let's see. Let me see.
I am touching nothing now, so.
All right, so hey, I think good. I'll pay attention to people hanging out. It's a little bit after 3, so we'll go on and get started. The only person I don't have is Patrick, and I recall that he told me this is the day that he's teaching. So at some point in time, he may join in. So with that, we've got everybody here. I'll help Kathy out. Let me find my agenda.
I like your haircut, by the way.
Whose?
Yours.
Oh, yeah, I just came to cut it all off. It's out of my face. Thank you. So I'm going to call this meeting to order, and for Kathy, I'll help her out, and I'll just call roll. Barry Johnson.
Here.
Linda Escott.
Here.
Kathy North.
Here.
Ron Alexander.
Here.
Demetria Tarian. Is that how you say your last name?
Tarian.
Tarian. It's good that I'm asking now, isn't it? Daniel DeFranco.
Here.
Mark Epstein. Epstein.
Steen.
Okay, see? And then Patrick Stewart is excused. He's teaching class, if that's okay with everybody.
Here.
He's here. He's down there.
Oh, hey, you're not teaching class. Weren't you teaching class?
No.
Oh, I'm thinking of Jim Yost. Okay. Okay. Very good. Excellent. Thanks for joining in. Luckily, we've got a couple people on here, so I'm going to open it. Our next on our agenda is public comment, and I'm going to ask if anybody who's joining us would like to make public comment at this time. If so, please chime in because there's not too many of you.
Well, I'll chime in. This is Ken Freestone.
Okay.
Just very quickly, City of Holland's program, we were hoping to kick it off for the new CART program in January, but because the funding was not announced until like way into October, we are kicking it off. CARTs will be delivered in April, and we'll be kicking it off then. We'll be doing education starting soon, and as a matter of fact, November 10th, on the Living Sustainably Along the Lakeshore series that we've been running for a number of years, we're doing one on recycling on November 10th. And I'll send you a link to that. And
Oh, good.
and it's going to be, we'll talk a little bit about the recycling program. Somebody from Eagle will be on doing a short presentation. Somebody from the Recycling Partnership might be on. That's the other entity that's doing some of the grant funding for our program. And then Aaron Thalenwood, myself, Tom Mahoney from Republic, and I think Dan Broersma from Goodwill Industries. And we'll do a little Stump the Chump like we do each year, where people can ask questions, and we'll see if they can stump us on where to recycle or how to recycle, or no, you just can't recycle, that kind of thing. So
Stump the chump.
yeah. And I get to be
Okay.
stumped, so, you know.
And do you get dunked into a bucket of water?
Not this time. It's a big vat of food waste is what it is. So,
Perfect.
Oh.
and I become compost and all that, you know. So,
Perfect.
Oh.
It's a car guy.
in a previous life as a council member, yes, I did get in the dunk tank, by the way. So that's
Oh my.
so I think that was I think that's the major announcement for that.
Okay.
That's it.
All right. Thanks, Ken.
Can I just have a question about, so for the program in Holland, it's for the entire city of Holland?
Yeah, the recycling program.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it covers the city. Does it cover the outskirts, township areas?
No, it doesn't. Our program is for city residents only, and the
Perfect.
grants that we received covered all except for probably about $90,000. So we're spending almost $500,000 on the carts, and most of that came from the state of Michigan, from Eagle, and from the
Wow.
recycling partnership. They paid for most of that. And then we had money in our solid waste fund, and so we're paying for the remainder. But 90,000 out of that whole amount is fantastic that we have to pay for.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay.
Cool.
And
Thank you.
when you refer to the carts, you mean the rollout bins?
Yes, correct. The 96-gallon carts, and that is, and we're now also starting to hear from people, which we expected, that the 96-gallon, I don't have room for that. Where am I going to put that? I can't use that. And Fortunately, the recycling partnership they're helping put together an FAQ because they said, oh, we've heard every question there is in the years we've been doing this. So we think we'll be able to answer all of them. And the big thing is going to be the conversation with condominiums, because a lot of the condominium associations are not allowed to have their carts out. These are big carts. So we know we're going to have to work through that, but our grants only pay for 96-gallon carts. So we have to start with that, and then we'll adjust from there.
All right. Thanks in advance for sending that link. So we'd be able to just dial in and participate. Okay, very cool.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Public comment from our handful of guests? It looks like I've got some folks I need to admit. Anybody else? Public comment? All right, with that, I'll move on then.
Garn, I just had I had a private correspondence for the group from John Canarson.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he just wanted to say that he hopes he's not alone in thinking that the current system is flawed. This is verbatim, and actually discourages recycling, in my opinion. Now that I'm paying for a second bin, I'm not having to haul my extra to the other places or resist the temptation of putting recyclables in my normal trash. I'd love to be kept in the loop about decisions and issues. Much appreciated, John.
All right. Hey,
He's
do
in the
me a
city of
favor.
Saugatuck.
If you have that, can you send that to Kathy so she can include it as a communication?
I absolutely will.
That would be great. Anybody else public comment before we move on into the meat of our agenda? All right, with that, again, my apologies for sending to you late the proposed minutes that Kathy put together for us from the August 12th meeting. That was, I believe, the last time we actually met. So I would entertain to approve the minutes. Entertain a motion.
I'll second that.
Okay, I need someone to make the motion.
I'll make the
Oh,
motion.
okay.
I'll make
That's
the motion
okay.
to accept.
All right, Demetrius does, okay, and then Dan's a second. Okay, any questions or, it's all good. It's all good. Any
It was-
questions or edits or anything about the minutes?
No, I did look back in my notes and I realized that, gosh, August 12th was a long, long time ago.
Yeah. Indeed it was. Anybody else? All right, all those, I'll do a roll call for all those in favor of the minutes. Let me find my names. Linda Escott,
Aye.
Barry Johnson. Oh, I think he's muted.
Sorry, yes.
All good. Kathy North,
Yes.
Ronna Alexander,
Yes.
Demetria Tarian,
Yes,
Daniel DeFranco,
Yes.
Patrick Stewart,
Yes.
Mark Epstein.
Yes.
Epstein. All right, Garnet Lewis.
Steen,
Yes. Steen.
Steen.
Sorry.
That's all right.
Yeah, all right, Garnet Lewis, yes. All right, minutes passed. Thank you so much. Now I'll entertain a motion to approve our agenda. Go.
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
Very
I
good.
second it. This is Linda.
All right, very good. Any questions or additions to the agenda? All right, with that again, I think we need to do a roll call for approval. So I'll help Kathy out. Barry Johnson,
Yes.
Linda Escott.
Yes.
I'm gonna skip last names. Kathy,
Yes.
Ronna,
Yes.
Demetria,
yes,
Daniel,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
Garn, yes. All right, very good. Okay, I'm gonna kind of get into the meat of things and try to not bog us down with too much information. I shared with everybody a draft of the results. I want to thank obviously Daniel and Ronna for getting together with me Thursday last and kind of helping me just collect thoughts on what we were seeing from both the data and the comments. It was very helpful to do that. Prior to us doing that, just kind of a rundown, because we have a couple guests here on the meeting. We last met in August, and then myself and several other members of the committee presented to the various municipalities. We presented to the township on the 12th that evening after our meeting, the 17th of August to the city of Douglas, and then the 21st of August to the city of Saugatuck, basically outlining our plan, our time frame, what the cost would be, how we were going to publicize it and whatnot as far as the survey. At that actual meeting that we ourselves had on the 12th, we did a final run through of the survey with Elizabeth Estes, who graciously helped us set this up into SurveyMonkey and basically helped us keep the cost at nothing. So jumping ahead then, all the municipalities were very, very appreciative of the efforts, very complimentary of the committee. You should know that. Our efforts to date and what we've done to educate ourselves and really be prepared to ask our constituents what they know, what they think, where they think we should be going. So everything went really according to the time frame. The 8th and 9th in September, the online versions went out. All three city managers, our managers, were very helpful in helping me get the notes out through the listserv, posting it on the webpage, and then through our efforts, our individual efforts as members, we were able to get these posted on various social media pages. I was not once asked for a hard copy of the survey so that folks could complete it, not once. And I circled around several times asking if anybody needed one, and nope, haven't gotten a request yet.
Karen, can I
So,
interrupt you real quick?
yeah.
There's somebody waiting to be let in.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for that.
Sorry for the interruption.
No, all good. Thank you for that. So we were able to pretty much stick to the time frame. I shut the survey down the 2nd, I think maybe even the 7th of October, just because I wanted to leave it open a little bit. And then basically pulled that data out and put it into a rough draft form, which is what you have now. So with that, let me see, I've written down some notes just to make sure that I haven't forgotten anything. With that, basically, if anybody, I'd be curious if folks have anything to add. What's nice is that because we're recording this, if we have thoughts that are in addition to what were collected on the draft report, you should feel free to throw those out. And I think I might just one by one, if you don't mind, so we're not all talking at once, see if there's anything that you have to add or your observations about the survey, the process, and the results. So why don't I start with Douglas first? I'll go with Rana. Anything to add in addition to your comments?
I don't think so.
All right, Demetria.
No, I thought that the discussion here was really thorough, and I didn't have any other nugget to contribute. So.
All right, very good. Kathy?
I agree. I thought it was thorough and very well developed, and I have nothing to add.
Yeah.
Go to the township. Daniel, anything additional?
I have a few things just to kind of go through it quickly. I don't know if this is the time to do it, but I just wanted to note that for residents, what would most improve their recycling experience, they said that it was going to be, or that they were looking for reassurance that all eligible materials are actually being recycled. And I think that's something that we can actually deliver on. So I think that's positive.
Mm-hmm.
For the businesses, I believe that they were most concerned with making the process more convenient. So I think that there's probably some follow-up that needs to be done with the businesses, because we know what residents, at least in the Douglas and the city, overwhelmingly believe what would make the recycling more convenient, which would be increase in frequency. But I think it's less clear with businesses. So maybe there's some more follow-up with businesses in that respect about what would make their recycling experience more convenient. And just to circle around to just something that, maybe we should be thinking about. There were quite a few comments related to condo associations. And just housing associations. And I'm wondering, just kind of throwing it out there, if there's anybody on this committee that lives in an association that does have recycling services that might be able to go to their board and just inquire about the process in which they got those services, and then maybe be able to report back to us. We suggested having some sort of mailers, like one-page flyers with very basic information about recycling. I'm wondering if we could do something similar for condo associations, where we could say, this is the person that you contact. These are your options. These are your costs. This is the process that you go through for getting that. So we can put it up there. I mean, it's not something that we have jurisdiction over. Individual condo boards are going to have to do it themselves. But if we could lay the groundwork, I think that might be something worth looking into, just because there is a lot of frustration surrounding that. So if we could help or facilitate condo associations, so that's just something that was, maybe something that we want to think about as an action item.
Yep. And I'm going to ask, I'll probably sit down with you, Kathy, because some of this will be under next steps kind of thing. So, okay. Anything else, Daniel?
I had something else. Oh, a lot of concern about hazardous waste and how to recycle that. Again, something that we don't need, we can do it ourselves. We can communicate with, the private vendors, and then just bring an estimate to the 3 municipalities and see if they're willing to pay for it. So that's another action item that I think that we can hit pretty quickly.
Okay. Patrick.
A question and a comment. Do we have any idea what the total population that could avail themselves of this survey was?
Yeah.
Seems to me you mentioned that there were 4,700 and some odd residents that potentially could have received the survey.
Yes, correct.
I'm not sure if that includes the 3 communities or not.
Nope, that's all 3. Yeah.
Okay.
That's about
Yep.
right.
So
Patrick. keep
Yeah,
going.
so that's something to consider as we go through this, is that we had about 500 respondents. And the only reason why that might be important is to what extent we view this as the people that responded were positive towards this subject.
Sure.
And we shouldn't overread the
Right.
positive results and what we might do. That's just a comment. Then I was really encouraged by the business recommendations. I think to me, it meant that there's an opportunity for a long-term program I think Daniel brought it up early in this whole process of making the Saugatuck area low waste, high recycle example. And I think those responses indicate to me that if they're significant to the population, that we got a chance of working with that, and it's something we could do.
Just a quick response and observation, Patrick. So in my past life, when I was in academia, I was the director of institutional research at one of our state institutions. And this is generally the problem that we have with survey administration. I was always pleased if I could get close to 14% response. And so for us, just a little bit over a 12% response, I was very happy with that. Fully recognize that there are some folks that you could literally walk up to them and give them this survey and they still would not take it. It's just the way people are. So while I would personally love that everybody would respond, it's kind of like voting. We can't even get 100% people to vote. So, but I hear your comments, and maybe over the course of time, as we move forward into next steps and we kind of talk about education, we can increase people's paying attention to this topic. How's that? Sound good? All right, Mark.
hi.
Hi.
Well, a couple of things. First, to follow up on something that Daniel said, which is regarding condo associations and HOAs in general, perhaps. I live in an HOA, and the HOA board was smart enough to sit down with Republic to negotiate. I'm not sure exactly when they did this, but they negotiated a contract with Republic, which includes a a second bin, a recycle cart, if you will, strictly for recycling. And we have pickup of that every 2 weeks. And we also have a dumpster that's delivered to us twice a year. So we get some of the perks that some of the comments made in the survey were suggested, to have more frequent service, as well as have, I hate to use the expression, but dump sites or drop-off points in the communities. So we're fortunate to be able to have that. And I think it's just a matter of the HOA boards to, contact Republic and set up a time and meeting, and perhaps Republic would be open to doing that for them. Another thing is I wasn't surprised by some of the comments. I too have done a lot of surveys and mailers over the course of my career, and 12% is a very good return rate. Anytime you do a mass mailer, and if you get anywhere over, sometimes over 5 or 6% return, you're very happy about it. I think one of the big challenges or goals that we have is education. And because some of the comments that people made me feel like they're living in a bubble. They have no idea sometimes who their carting agent is. They don't know what their cost is. They don't know when a contract may be coming up for renewal, which is just simply, pick up the phone and call your local town or city board, the city hall, to ask, and to make your voice known, and to say, look, when next time it comes up for renewal, please take the following things under consideration. I was a little, also again, some of the businesses answered with, with the comments of, well, maybe when it came to composting, or maybe if it comes to, although I think they overwhelmingly said yes, they were in favor of eliminating plastic forks and bags and so forth. But then one comment was suggested that our responsibility might be to come up with a solution to find a group buying program. Well, I don't think that's our responsibility. That's something that individually SADABA could do on their behalf, not us. And again, there were some comments that there were people that said, well, I want to be able to choose my own hauler. Well, that kind of goes back to when the township had under discussion trying to come up with a plan to have a sole source, and there was a lot of pushback, and kind of reminiscent to what we're going through right now with suggesting and mandating people wear masks. And you have people who say, you can't tell me what to do. Well, there are residents out there that don't want to be told what to do. They just feel like they have a choice, and they want to do whatever they want to do. And maybe they're getting a better rate than Republic or one of the other services might charge, but it seems to me that there's a lot more advantage to group buying power than individual buying power. So those are a couple of things that I noticed with the comments. And I think one of the biggest things, as I mentioned, is education, getting people to understand that everything that they put in, whether they have a bin or a yellow bag, everything that they put in there is not recyclable. It may be in their minds that a glass bottle or a flimsy piece of plastic or something else, or a light bulb or a battery or something else is recyclable, but it is not for that recycle service to take care of for you, as it would be for paper or cardboard or magazines and things of that nature, and other kinds of plastics. There are services available that people could find to recycle batteries and light bulbs. CompRenew is one on Butternut in Holland that will charge you, but charges less than Republic does for batteries and for light bulbs, as well as less than Batteries Plus charges. And that's because they are a nonprofit. Also, some of the retailers, such as Lowe's, they do have bins at the entrance of their store where you can drop off light bulbs and batteries. So I'm sure the person or persons that made the comment as to what are we supposed to do with this stuff have been to retailers such as that and walked past those bins but never looked at them to notice that they have a place where they can put their batteries and their light bulbs. As far as other kinds of materials like paint buckets and fluorescent fixtures or small appliances, again, Comprenew takes small appliances for free. They take computers for free. They do charge for televisions because they have to send those out to be disposed of, whereas computers and small appliances, they have a shop where they employ people and teach them a skill on how to fix them. So that's why they do it. They take them in for free. And then if you want to buy an inexpensive laptop that's used, you can go to their store and buy one. So for what it's worth, that's my 2 cents.
All right, very good. Thank you. Linda?
Who, me?
Yeah.
You're there?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, no, first of all, thank you for that information about Lowe's, because that's been my bane, is trying to find a place to do with my light bulbs and my batteries.
And Best Buy also.
And Best Buy. If I can just drop them off, I'm a happy girl. I don't have anything else to add to what's already been said, other than that.
All right, thank you. Barry?
I think Kathy North took the words. She had the words. I have nothing to add.
Yeah, okay. So lastly, I'll just chime in a bit. And, my general observations are that the survey did exactly what we wanted it to do. It wanted to show, and we wanted data to basically verify that what we already know is that folks run the gamut from what their understanding of recycling in our communities. A lot of folks feel that they certainly have a good sense of what it means to recycle, but then they get really off the rails when it comes to what they can recycle. So it's always good to have the data to support where we're at. And then as we move into next steps and start to put together a plan, it's good to have the data to basically justify what we're doing. I always enjoy comments, for the most part. Folks are funny. They'll just tell you whatever they want to tell you. But for the most part, I found the comments extremely enlightening and very positive. You always get a few, but it's all good. It doesn't matter. What I was particularly encouraged about were the number of people who provided their email because they're interested in being a part of whatever efforts we have moving forward. I have 50 plus emails of people in these 3 municipalities, and that is really cool because that is a base from which to start, I think, to build upon what I consider this group. So it's very encouraging to me, and I think it'll really help. As a committee, our charge, we basically have been given until the end of the year to really come back around with a plan. We have, in my mind, 2 months yet to do that. Let's see, I had some other thoughts that I wrote down. On page 2 of the draft that I put together, I had a whole section on initial review and recommendations. And if you don't mind, we can move on to kind of next steps as I kind of talk about that, and then you can chime in. When we went through everybody's comments and the results, and Rana had this idea, this back to basics kind of education really would be extremely beneficial. And even though we are the last ones who want to create more paper, the most immediate way to do that might be through a simple mailer to every mailbox that basically provides them with some necessary information to get started and includes some links that we already are all very familiar with. Barry's been very good about reminding us that on the Republic site, they have it's a great resource. Daniel brought to us the gal from Allegan County. We have Ken Freestone here. So if we could just simply one-off on a mailer to everybody, which then directs them to what might be our own social media page that we use to kind of update people on a regular basis. So you can see this on page 2 where we're kind of going with this, just to help people understand what can be recycled and what can't. And I myself have made this mistake. Barry's been there in city council meetings when I'm like, nope, the only thing we can recycle is cardboard. And that of course is not the case, but as a business owner, that's all I get to recycle is cardboard. So I'm not the only one who's confused, and we've generally been confused. So to be able to help folks on what they can actually recycle at this time would be helpful. One of the great comments that I saw was, don't you think it would be wonderful that we could teach people when they're on the front end of buying things, the container in which their food item is coming? Because if you can nip that in the bud, so I think that's an opportunity for us to educate. You know, it's a hard habit to break, to be able to just buy anything you want in whatever container it comes in. But to even maybe provide folks with a second to just kind of think about it may help us in the end run with the amount of stuff that we have to recycle. So the other thoughts, and what I would suggest this is to team up with the commercial record and see if we can do a series of, every second, I think someone corrected me, semi-monthly, I think is the right word, instead of bi-monthly, semi-monthly articles in the commercial record, and we have a topic each time. I found that actually folks were, for the most part, I saw their comments and their data responses about composting very enlightening. I think folks want to, but they don't know how to. And if we were to show them, it might help folks begin to compost. A good friend of mine, Annie Van Dyke, lives out in the township, is a composter, takes our coffee grounds from Isabel's and has been composting like there's no one's business. She's happy if we wanted to do some kind of a video of how she sets up her beds and whatnot. But I know we have a couple other folks here that are also into composting. I see Kelly's on here. The good idea of connecting with the garden club and seeing what we could do to utilize composting, especially with our master gardeners in the community. And then lastly, using our resource that we already have with Jim Yost and Kelly Roche. So I'll stop there. In general, I feel like we've been given a really clear path from the folks who did respond to the survey. And so my question and my challenge to all of us here today is, what are our next steps? What makes the most sense to do immediately? And I will throw this out here just to kind of mesh it up a little bit. I pondered the thought of maybe it's time for little mini work groups. So for example, I can give one right now. Mark and I live in condo associations. Mark and I can sit down and put together a really short plan, talk to our individual board presidents, get some direction on how we set up the recycling and come back, boom. So think about that as you throw thoughts out there, because if you suggest it, you might get volunteered. So, so how's that? I'll just
That's
stop
honest.
talking. It is honest. I mean, there's only so much that one or two people can do. And I think what you all have shown me is that you're clearly interested in this. I think I can go far to say is that we are not of the mind that we're done, or when our kind of deadline hits at the end of December that we're really done. We have a great opportunity to move our communities forward when it comes to recycling and even composting. And I will hazard a guess that you all might be interested in helping us continue to move forward. So with that, I'll shut up and just open it up to committee thoughts about next steps. Go for it, Rhonda.
Go ahead.
Interested in jumping in to kind of put together an outline, and then maybe if I submit it to the group, people can put their names next to it. And I would start by kind of doing an outline of the informational piece that would be mailed out, that would be inclusive of kind of an outline for the newspaper articles. So I would, essentially what I would like to do is do an outline for the papers. So if it's semi-weekly, isn't that what you said? They said, I've got it backed up. now.
Semi-monthly, I think it is. Did you see that comment? That was hysterical. I just started laughing.
We were joking about that when we met, and now I've got them confused. So bi-weekly, I would normally say, so I'll say that.
Yeah,
And so that would be like 26 articles over the course of a year. And then maybe I can break that down and get your input on that. And if that is your focused area and you feel confident, or you know somebody who does, we can kind of sign up and to write that article. And I would kind of want to work ahead of that. So it's not just like the week before it's done. We would kind of compile them all. And then so we could kind of all be guest writers or however we want to handle that. And then that would kind of just give an outline for just the content, I guess. So I would be willing to put that together and then see who's interested, almost like a sign up sheet. If you're bringing something to a party, you can sign up for the chips or the plates or whatever you feel comfortable doing and time allows. So I'd be more than happy to do that part.
great. Thank you. And just to add to that, so before I take too much more of everybody's time, my thoughts as far as what I can do and our obligation as a committee is to circle back around to the 3 municipalities and present this data and the results. The township, I'm already teed up on the 11th of November. That's been set up and I'm waiting to hear back from Douglas. I think they meet right away next Monday or something like that. And then I'll wait to see what the city of Saugatuck wants to do. So for me, I feel obligated, if you will, to make sure that we keep our municipalities up to date and our elected officials up to date. And so having said that, the other thing that I will do is in that share these data with Scott Sullivan with the commercial record, which I think will open the door for us for those types of educational articles. Ron. Okay, that would be great though. Thank you. That would be a huge help. Anybody else?
Would it be useful if we just all picked 2 or 3 by their importance of things we think we should do going forward and get them to you, so you can just sort through all that?
Sure, that would be helpful. Yeah,
Then we can come with a list and get it back out, and everybody can say what they're willing to do.
perfect. That works as well. It's a nice supplement to what Rana suggested. Anybody else? Yeah, I see a hand. Barry, go for it.
I've taken off on your idea about the sub work groups, and you brought up condos that you and Mark are eminently qualified to do because you live in them. But the other 2 big users that I can think of, and I think we're going to come up with more, but restaurants create a ton of takeout, as do the grocery and convenience stores. And, you know, maybe one of our visions is to say, let's all be using something that we know works to recycle or compost for all the restaurants. And give them a suggestion. Okay, they're going to cost you a penny more, but these we know will decompose, or that they are actually going to be recycled when they show up, and they're not just tanglers and things that have the symbol on it, but in the fact when it gets to the recycling sorting center, it just comes up the works. So so restaurants and then grocery and convenience stores, if we can come up with some recommendations for them, say this is through resources like Ken Freestone or people that know what really can be used, I would say those would be subgroups.
Yeah, I actually had just business group, because I know for a fact Guy Derazano, Duranzo, I don't even know how to say his last name, Guy, they're very, very interested in this. And of course, Isabel's is as well. So I'm happy to kind of take lead on a business group on a next steps type of thing. So Rana, if you want to include that on your kind of, if there's anybody else kind of going along with Patrick's pick 2 or 3, if there's anybody else that wants to assist with that. I was really pleasantly surprised, both residents and business owners, as far as eliminating the single-use plastics. So I was like, wow, that was really kind of heartening in a way to see that we have a substantial number of people, significant number of people who want to do that. I hear it a lot, I've heard it a lot, but it's kind of nice to see that verified with the data as well. That would be quite an accomplishment. So I'd be happy to take lead with a kind of a business owner subgroup and see what we might be able to start to generate there.
Yeah, and I agree with that. The business is a little bit broad for me though, because the different businesses, restaurants have different needs than Glick's, a retail store.
Yeah, yeah.
Demond's, Lake Vista has different needs than condos. I mean, so there's some very specific people that create a lot of waste in our community that if we just came to them and had some suggestions for it, they may buy into it. But then everybody's on the same page, and maybe all the restaurants are buying the same thing, realizing that, you know what, you can't recycle these because you're going to have pizza, you know, that, but you buy the boxes that we know will compost or something, you know, there's a lot of ways to go on that, but I would, business is a little broad for me.
Yeah, the other group, Barry, kind of along those same lines, that's really separate from that is really your rental companies, your rental owners. There were a lot of comments about that, short-term rental, trash and recycling, just figuring out a way to get that a little bit under control. So.
Well, and you know, a good point, Garnett, in that we do have a rental next door, and we've had a busy summer, but all the trash that we get from our renters was generated downtown.
Yeah, that was a lot of trash.
So that's why that's where you start at the source.
Got it.
One comment that sticks out in my mind is someone said that, oh gosh, no, now it just flew out the door. It'll come back to me.
Come back.
All right.
Senior moment, you gotta love it.
It'll come in about 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Kelly here.
Oh,
It's a recording for you.
all right, what other next?
I think I remember what it was.
Oh, see, good.
Well, somebody made the comment about why won't we, or why don't we consider taxing people who don't recycle? There's no way you can do that.
No.
I don't think it's legal, first of all. And second of all, if you say, well, how are we going to find out if they're not recycling? Well, then it's up for us to go to the haulers and say, give us a list of people that are not using the yellow bags and the bins so that we can assess them with a fine. Well, the recyclers aren't going to want to take up the time to do that. Yeah. So it's not a good solution.
No, and I saw that way outside our purview. That's for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's not that's not what we're here for. Is to tax people.
No, we're the feel-good crew. We're gonna educate people.
Persuading them, giving them an incentive other than a tax, that we can do.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. Anybody else thoughts on next steps?
Kelly's got her hand up.
I'm happy to help out with the community stuff. So,
Cool.
you know, I'm looking
Thanks.
at your list here, and I mean, a quick update for Saugatuck Public Schools. Unfortunately, that's at a standstill right now because we're not even allowed inside the school. And obviously with COVID-19, how they're operating is just.
Which schools aren't we allowed in?
Oh, DES. So parents and volunteers are not allowed in right now.
Okay.
Yeah, unfortunately. And my kids actually aren't even back in school. We're remote. So we had a great meeting with Ken and the group from Black River. I think that was like August timeframe. And then obviously as things move forward, the timing is just off on that right now. And there's so much stress over there with just trying to keep everyone safe that it's just not the right time. But you know, we're still gonna move forward with that when it's appropriate. But in the meantime, I'm happy to help out the community stuff. And then my other piece, my thought after looking at the survey was that, you know, I love the thought with the business aspect, the community aspect, but then, you know, we have a heavy imprint with the tourism here. And so I would be willing to talk with, you know, Margot and Mark just sold their business to Vacasa, which is obviously a national brand, and call them and kind of talk about anything they're doing currently to try and help out with recycling, or, you know, what they even share with their guests when they come to town. And then like Kevin Dringali, who does Bella Vita, and just sort of get thoughts on that initially and kind of see what path we can walk with them and how much they'd be willing to work with us on that. And even if we put some branding together for all of this, I think we need to have some very, you know, very simplistic, but very straightforward branding across all of these things. I think that would be great even to put in the hands of renters. And then, you know, initially how that's then implemented is going to be, you know, a crapshoot at first, but I think at the very least we can help educate those that come to our community and remind them they're coming here because of the beautiful scenery and, you know, nature, and we want to preserve that for them in the future.
Got it. Cool. Yeah, so Kelly, that just made me realize, yeah, you guys aren't doing any composting at the school at
No,
all.
no, there's nothing going on.
Wow. Yeah, and that was a big effort. I mean, it'll happen, you know.
No, it'll
eventually,
happen. But
eventually we'll get through this, and it will happen again. It's a good resource, so to speak. Okay.
I just had a thought, and with the business people, it's just an example of this. We have an opportunity when we get our working group to work on that challenge, that we might include several of the businesses, the stakeholders. You're one, but there are some others. I think both Pennyroyal and Farmhouse use compostable materials, and get some of the community people involved in this and get the stakeholders. So we, as you said, we spread the group and started working.
Got it. Let's see. I've got hands up. I don't know who was first. So I'm just going to pick Dan. Dan, your hand's up.
Okay. Real quick, again, kind of responding to some of those comments. I think maybe it'd be wise, and I'd be willing to do this, is just to reach out to some of the other local municipalities, specifically New Richmond and Fenville, that have drop-off sites, just to follow through with them and see how they work, what their associated costs are, because we did get a lot of comments with people preferring drop-off sites. So not saying that we should pursue it, but just so, you know, we have an understanding of how it works and how much it costs, just to kind of get the ball rolling and have some information in our back pocket.
Got it. Thank you. Oh, wait, Demetria, I saw you were waving.
Yeah.
Go for it.
I just had wanted to throw myself onto the forming a liaison with the garden club.
Oh, good. Thank you.
Sort of seeing how they would want to participate with composting.
Awesome. Thank you. Let's see. I've got Kathy's hand up.
I just wanted to mention, it was Daniel's idea actually about communicating with private vendors to set up a hazardous waste day twice a year or so.
Yeah.
Great next step.
Yeah. So Barry, let me ask you, I'm going to put you on the spot. Is this probably worth having a discussion with the various DPW folks?
About having a hazardous waste?
Yeah, setting that up and getting that communicated.
Not the Department of Public Works, no, with the city councils, which we do anyway. But that's an individual city council thing. Now, I don't know if Republic or whoever you contract with would want to do them all on one day with all three communities. Probably not a big deal.
Okay.
But we already, each individual city already does that. So we don't talk to the DPW anyway. We talk to the manager and the council.
Okay. I was trying to figure out a way to get this set up. What was I going to ask? There was something else. It disappeared. I was going to let you all know that I did send to Jack Brown with Republic, since he's Carrie Rattinger's replacement, the draft of the results, and I have not heard back from him. Yeah, I'll continue to push on that one. would love personally, I would love Republic to kind of join us and being a little more proactive about helping educate folks. So I will continue in that effort.
Yeah, I had a thought on that too, Garnett. I agree. The city of Saugatuck contracts with the public, so they're our guys now. As far as township
Yeah.
people, they don't have as big a stake in the township.
Mhm.
They have individuals that do that, but their big contracts are certainly Saugatuck and I believe Douglas.
Mhm.
So we have the leverage to get them more involved, I believe. One thing just blew up in my head tonight, though, is that the yellow bags, that they're still using yellow bags. And that would be my first question for him.
Exactly.
In these other communities,
Yeah.
are they recycling those yellow bags? Because to my knowledge, they are not.
Well, they
So-
can't. They're not recyclable bags, and that's that was the impetus for sending it to him.
Yeah.
And this is, I hope, the first conversation that he and I can have is, y'all got to stop having your people drop those yellow bags off. So
And my question then goes to Ken Freestone, who told us tonight that they're putting off their launch because of all the obvious reasons until April. But I thought Ken said that they're going to still use yellow bags between now and April. Is that true, Ken?
No, they won't be using yellow bags. They will be using them until April, but not after that. There
So
may be,
you are going to use yellow bags until April.
yeah, well, we have to. We don't have any other system for any
But
kind
how
of,
do we, are those being recycled?
no, they're not.
No. So there is no recycling in Holland right now, or
Well-
anybody that uses a yellow bag.
Well,
Are people paying for recycling in
hold
Holland
on,
then?
hold on.
Yeah,
Let
yeah.
Ken finish.
Yeah.
Let Ken finish.
so it is, so about 17% of what goes in the yellow bag gets recycled. That is down because of, again, China not accepting anything starting 2 years ago. Prior to that, it was about 70% was getting recycled. So that's what happened when our contaminated materials didn't have a place to go anymore. It dropped quite a bit. So when the yellow bag system originally started, there was some recycling of yellow bags many years ago, but that stopped. And then, but that was the system that we had in the contract we had to work with.
Us too, same with us, you know.
The
But-
process, when it was chef, the process used to be that the yellow bag would be opened at the plant and then they would sort out of the yellow bag all of the recycled material to the various points in the yard. Paper going in one place, metals going to another, and plastics going to another, maybe glass at the time went to another. So is Republic collecting the yellow bags and then breaking them and sorting?
They are still sorting,
Okay.
but it has to be really clean material. And unfortunately, so many people are putting things in there that contaminate it. And of course, when they get crushed in the truck, they're getting contaminated. But again, the contamination rate was not as big of an issue 2 years ago as it is now. Now China would accept like a 1% contamination rate, and we're at like 40 or 50%.
Yeah.
There used to be, again, a lot of that contaminated material was being sent out for recycling, but it stopped.
Okay, so this is good. When I get a hold of Jack Brown, my question will be, okay, I'll be clear. If a person has a bin, then they should not be being given yellow bags at all. And so if yellow bags are still being provided, then we need to do a good job of educating people of how to put clean material in the recycling bag so it doesn't contaminate everything else. Correct?
Yes.
That's the way it is.
Yes, but
Okay.
I would ask, in your area, are they sending a separate truck for recycling, or are they commingling everything?
Mhm.
In our neighborhood, they send a separate truck on the same day as the garbage is picked up.
Yeah, and
It's a-
ours too.
But it's a separate truck.
But you
Ours
don't have yellow
too.
bags, Mark.
What's that?
Yellow bags are not picked up in a separate truck in the township. If you're
No,
not
I'm
in,
saying in our instance, we have a separate cart. And so that separate cart for recycling, and it's a different color than the other cart. One's black and one's blue. So the blue cart, which is for recycling, is picked up by a different truck than the garbage.
Carrie confirmed to me that the yellow bag service in Saugatuck Township has been terminated and all the yellow bags go into the garbage truck.
Well, okay, so let's, yeah. So that'll be my task to get some clarity from Jack, since Carrie is no longer with us, is retired, God bless him. And so I'll harass Jack until we get a hold of, and I promise I'll be nice to him. Okay, I see hands that are going up. I'll go with Rana first. Go for it.
I have a couple questions. So Ken, maybe you would know this. The state of Michigan had a ban on banning bags. And then when Whitmer got into office, there was supposed to be a ban on the ban of banning bags. And I've not heard, nor can I find out, do you know if that legislation has been reversed?
No, it has not been reversed, and it's still in committee. And right now, per a friend of mine in the legislature, they've said it's not going to go anywhere right at the moment, but it is still there, and there's backing for reversing that. But right at the moment, it's not going anywhere.
Okay, so it's still in discussions, but at the moment, there is a ban on banning bags.
That is correct.
Yeah, so can't ban the bags.
All
All
that-
right.
And does that mean that you can't make it mandatory, or you can't charge for bags?
You can't make it mandatory. You cannot ban it or make it mandatory. You could charge for them, but you can't ban them.
Okay,
Ken, are all plastic bags not recyclable?
No, there's many plastic bags that are recyclable. Like, for instance, if you go to Walmart or Meijer or Kohl's, you see those bins at the front as you walk in the door for recycling plastic. There is a lot of plastic that can go in there that people don't realize can actually go in there. Like, for instance, bread wrappers, Ziploc bags, laundry, dry cleaning bags. All of those can go in there. It is not labeled that way because they haven't set up bins big enough to handle all that material. But I will send you a list of what can go in there. And there's a move to increase that in our area.
So you mentioned a dry cleaning bag, which is a very thin plastic. And you also mentioned Ziplocs. Those can be recycled?
Well, the way they get recycled, they actually get collected and then bundled and sent down to Trex or another company like that, the people that make the decking material, and it gets turned into decking material.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that kind of goes along with our educational component, if you will. And I see
Yeah.
this overseas in Germany when I visit family. They're very good about bagging their plastic bags together. And then they're very good about it for that very purpose. Rather than just throwing it in one big container or bag with everything else, they really, really good about separating. And maybe that's something that we can teach people is if you're going to recycle and you want to do it right, start putting things inside of each other, if you will, and we can go a little further than
You
that's way
gotta,
above
you
my
gotta
head.
convince people with the mentality that you need to do this, and they're gonna, and unfortunately, we have too many people who think, don't tell me what to do.
And that's okay. I mean, that's just our world, and that's okay. I'm
It's
fine with
sad.
that. It's the ones that we can move the needle on, which I think will be helpful. Ken, you had a hand up. Did you have something to add?
Sure. I'll actually commit to something for the group too, is that I will update the list of things that are recyclable and where you can recycle those. Things that were mentioned today were like the batteries, the bulbs, CompRenew. CompRenew is charging per pound when you bring
Yes.
electronics in now. So
Yeah.
some of those things you said that are free, they're not, they're per pound.
No, CompRenew charges by the pound, you're right, but
Right.
less than Batteries Plus or Republic.
Okay, and then I'll check on the batteries because actually batteries are, unless they are rechargeable, they are not
Yes.
recyclable. They
Right.
go in the trash. So those are things that I just want to make sure when we're talking batteries, people understand that. And also I'll get you the list of the plastic bags that are recyclable, and and also some information from Recycling Partnership, the nonprofit that's providing grants to the city, and they have a tremendous amount of templates available and logos and information that anybody can download. So
Okay.
this is stuff that we don't have to create some things. They already
Perfect.
have it and they've been doing it for years. So of course you can add on to that and customize it. But a lot of those things have been created, and I will commit to getting that to you.
Thank you.
I had
Wonderful.
I had one other thing to add before I was done there.
Yeah.
And I'll appreciate taking a look at that. When you send it, along with the, what I mentioned that I was gonna send out some, like a sign up part, I'd like to take a run at doing the branding for the tri-community. And so I guess I just wanted to, if you can do a thumbs up or thumbs down, are we good with the, like a tagline of going back to basics?
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's good.
perfect. Perfect.
Okay. Thank you.
I love that. Awesome.
Garnett?
Yes, sir. Go
Um,
for it.
This is kind of in the whole deal as far as Ken goes. Now, we have this sheet that we got from Republic
Mm-hmm.
posted on our website.
Mm-hmm.
So, but what is not on here is what things that are Ken is specifically talking about: batteries, light bulbs,
Mhm.
that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
So what Ken is getting for us will hugely supplement what Republic has told us that they will take.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would have another sheet, Garnett and I, and maybe the Douglas folks who also use Republic would post that extra information that Ken's going to get us.
And Ron is so good at this, putting this together. It's remarkable.
And
All right.
Garn- and
Yeah.
Derek, would you send me that list also, just so I make sure I'm working from your list or adding on to your list?
This here?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll see if I got your email. Otherwise, you can just go on our city website and pull it.
Oh,
up.
is it? Okay, good. All right.
It
Okay.
should be on the Republic website as well, I think.
Probably, these things are never, things are never easy to find, and that's
Yeah.
the problem.
I would be glad to
that's
send this
true.
to Ken if I have his email.
Yeah.
I already
Let me see.
PDF'd it, so.
Got it. Yeah.
I
All
will-
right.
I will do
Yeah,
that.
we need to make stuff easy to find. So, yeah. Okay. Other thoughts before I bring us to a conclusion? All that. With that, I'm going to open it up to public comment. We have guests on again, and we had some folks join us. Our meeting ends with folks given the opportunity to make a public comment. If you would like to do so, if you could raise your hand, that would be helpful. I don't see anybody. All right, very good. I think you all.
I have
Oops,
some,
hold on.
I have some general information if anybody's interested regarding on the idea of recycling and helping the environment. Maybe a lot of you are aware of this, but consumers or some of the other power companies give rebates on light bulbs that you purchase. And I recently changed light bulbs in my house, the recessed lighting. I noticed, Garnett, on your ceiling, you have recessed lighting.
Mm-hmm.
And the type of recessed light that you have gives off a lot of heat.
Yeah.
And so what I have done, and this isn't, unfortunately, I bought these at Menards, and they're very, very easy to do. You take the collar off of the fixture, and when you do that, you take the bulb out first, of course, turn the power off, take the bulb out, take the collar off, and then, of course, inside there's a socket. And this right here extends, if it needs to be extended, you just pull it out and you screw that in, and it gives the impression of that being a recessed light. And these are LED lights that are energy efficient.
Got it.
But as I said, the problem is the Menard store in Holland is not part of consumer energy rebate program because they fall into a district that uses or is part of Great Lakes Energy or something to that effect. So if you go on the Consumer Services website, you'll see a bulb that's similar to this. It has an extension, wires that extend and has a socket at the end. So you basically do the same thing that I just said, the same procedure. You take the bulb out, take the collar off, and then you screw in that little fixture at the end, and the bulb fits in that
So,
spot. And it's
We
done.
all did the same thing. We all looked up into our ceiling just to see what, I'm watching Patrick look.
And they are dimmable. They are dimmable.
Good. All right.
They're not expensive. I
Okay.
mean, I bought these at Lowe's for about $4 a piece. And I think the ones on the consumer's site were about $4.50 to $5. So I didn't spend an extraordinary amount of money more or less than what consumers offers with a rebate. So I still got my light bulbs changed and have it more energy efficient.
Okay.
But you can do that through consumers. If you go on their website, you see there's a tab there for rebate services and products, and just click on that, you'll see the bulbs.
All right. I see Patrick's hand up. Go for it.
We back about, year and a half, 2 years ago, converted the whole house to LEDs. And if you go to 1,000, this is corny, 1000bulbs.com,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you can, problem is sorting through and getting the right bulbs, but you can get LED bulbs that fit the recess.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. No,
I can see
no.
our next committee is going to be like efficient lighting and whatnot. All right, Linda, Linda had a hand up.
Well, the advantage to these is that they don't burn as hot.
Yeah,
Okay.
ours are warm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right,
The
Linda.
regular bulbs burn hot.
yeah,
Okay.
you're right.
Linda, you had a comment?
Me?
No. No, I saw hands waving. All right. Anybody else for the good of the order? Looking forward to seeing what you send our way, Rana. Thank you so much. And what I'll do, if you all don't mind, is I'll probably try to set up another meeting for us within a 3 to 4 week period, if that's okay.
Sounds good.
And I'll push y'all along. And thanks for our guest, Brian Elmore. Hi, good to see you. Thank you. Kelly, as always, very nice. And I think we lost some folks that came on.
Jim was on.
Yeah, Jim was on. Thank you so much. Daniel, are you waving? Are you wanting to say something? What's
One
up?
more reminder, if we could send Garn 2 to 3 action items that we would be interested in tackling.
That would be cool. And then I see Ken's hand back up again. What's up, bud?
Darn, I will say that if anybody needs advice on the lighting and the home energy retrofit, that is my actual job for the city of Holland, is the residential energy advisor.
That is.
So I got the thermal cameras and we can check lighting and we can talk about that. So another time we can have
All
that.
right.
I'm doing a PowerPoint or a presentation to Rotary this week, Zoom. So happy to do that on another time.
I
Oh, that's
should have
good.
called you.
Yes. Yeah, he's the go-to
I
guy.
should have called him 2 years ago. I wouldn't have heat.
Yeah. All right. With that, everybody good?
Yeah.
Real quick,
Oh, Barry, go ahead.
Ken, I sent you that Solutech list. I hope I got your email right.
Yeah, it's like creativity can something.
Yep. Creativity. Email.
All right. Kathy Clage, thanks so much for joining us. Good to see you. All right, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn, motion,
There you
to
go.
adjourn.
Second.
DeFranco seconds.
All right, so I'll do a roll call real quick. Barry Johnson,
Yes.
Linda Escott,
Yes.
Kathy. Yes, she says yes. Rana.
Yep.
Demetria,
Yes.
Daniel,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
and Mark,
Yes.
and Garn.
And you know, Darn,
Yes.
if you would use people's last names, you would get the Epstein thing faster. Just
I
saying.
agree. I agree. I'm in total denial. Okay, very good. Epstein. Yeah.
Epstein is the other side of the tracks.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
man.
All right, very good. Thanks so much, you all. Really
Stay
appreciate it.
safe and vote.
And vote. That's
And
right.
vote.
Goodbye.
Yeah. See ya.
Bye.